And let's bring in former U.S. Navy SEAL Jake Zweig. He's joining us on the phone to talk us through this. Jake, you heard Anne-Marie and I talking a little bit about our discussion earlier where we talked about the difficulties of getting these kids from where they are to safety and the risks inherent for the divers themselves. I wonder, for the purposes of our audience who may just be joining us, given your experiences as a U.S. Navy SEAL, what kind of detail you can provide to our audience as to what this mission looks like and how dangerous it is for those undertaking it.
So I liken it to climbing Mount Everest, right? There's a number of stages early in the process. It's easy. As you get closer to the summit, it gets a lot harder. And then the hardest part is the back end coming down off the summit. So you look at this situation here in this cave, getting to the kids is only 50% of the mission. And then really the hard part is getting the kids out of the cave. And that's the back end of coming down off of Everest. You know, as many people die going up as they do coming down on Mount Everest. And so for our listeners, the thing you got to understand is you've got an untrained young person in a situation where they can't see anything, they don't really have the skill set of scuba diving, and now you're trying to get them to trust you, to allow them to be led through a labyrinth of cave tunnels in basically zero visibility and to be comfortable doing that. You know, that's a tall order to take, not to mention all the skills that the divers got to bring to the table, you know, being able to change bottles out underwater, being able to de-rig their gear, to walk, because they're walking a large part of this.
So listen, Jake, I know that the boys are getting these full face masks, but I also know that the full face masks, and you can clarify, but they don't seem to be the equipment of choice typically. So I'm wondering if there are any liabilities or risks associated with the full face mask versus what divers usually use, which is just a sort of that mouthpiece.
I would say probably, you know, it's the least riskiest part of the mission. You know, about the only thing I could think of happening is if they smash their face into a rock. But, you know, those face masks are made to work underwater. They're made to take some concussion, whether it be a hammer or a tool that you slap up against your face mask while you're trying to tighten the nut underwater. So they're pretty robust. I would say that's the least riskiest part of the mission is the actual equipment that they have on the kids. And that's by design, right? Like they're trying to limit the amount of risk with the kids actually breathing underwater, and they do that by using the Kirby Morgan face mask.
Jake, so let's talk a little bit about the actual physical conditions of the cave itself. In other words, from what I've read, the water that is in these caves is actually rushing water. So you just mentioned something that's kind of important, I think, which is you can get smashed along the sides of either sides, front and back, or up and down and sideways of the cave, because is it your understanding that the water is actually not sort of stagnant? It's actually like rushing water.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how the current is. There is some current, and I'm sure in some places it's running pretty good because it's taking them longer to get in than it is to get out, right? Caves are naturally formed by running water. That's how they form. So, and water runs downhill. So, you know, you just put two and two together. They're in a cave. It was formed by running water. Water runs downhill. Therefore, they have to be in running water, right? So when you look at it, there's probably points where the water is running pretty quickly, and there's probably points where the water is, you know, not moving as fast. My thing is there's probably a lot more people where the water gets dangerous and less people where the water is not dangerous, right? So there's more redundancy in the mission around places where more problems could happen.
Jake,
and that's why go ahead.
So I was going to say, you know, Reuters is reporting that one boy may have been already removed from the cave. It's pretty quick compared to yesterday's rescue efforts, but I know you mentioned that there are more Navy SEALs involved in Phase 2.
Yeah, you know, I think what they're telling us and what's really happening are two different things. I know for a fact there's 200 qualified divers on site there. I can't tell you how I know that, but there's a whole bunch of people there, and there's a whole bunch of people in the cave. And there's actually 25 people that are actually going up and getting the kids, but there's a whole bunch of standby divers on station ready to help or in these trouble spots to make sure nothing goes wrong.
It is interesting, Anne-Marie, that Martin Patience, the BBC reporter that you were talking to earlier, said that this is very important. Obviously, it's important for the families, and clearly the Thai government wants a successful and happy ending to this ordeal. And perhaps one of the reasons why we are getting this information from Reuters, and it hasn't been confirmed by others, is because they are sort of keeping it under wraps as they bring all of them out, as Martin pointed out, to perhaps have a big showing of all the boys and their coach rescued at the end.
I mean, they're not even telling the parents who's been removed from the cave.
Right. Yeah, which is sort of unusual. Jake, I wonder, given the level of expertise there on the ground, the years of experience when you combine all of the people that are there, what have you heard as to exactly what happened with that Thai Navy SEAL who perished in trying to rescue these young boys and their coach? From what I read and from what I understood from Ben Tracy, our reporter there, he was placing oxygen tanks along the pathway of the cave. Explain the significance of that and what may have gone wrong for him.
So, I mean, I know he came out of retirement, and one of the reasons that we have to retire is because we're not able to keep up. You know, as they say in the Army, the regiment will always choose the younger lady. You know, if you ask me, you know, they gave us a kind of an autopsy report really quick on him, said he ran out of oxygen. I bet you we hear in the future that he had a heart attack, and you know, it was a stress-related issue with how much work he was doing. I mean, I can't say anything negative about the guy. He absolutely was doing the completely honorable thing. But at the end of the day, if I had to be a betting man, I'd say he probably died from a heart attack, and you know, they're saying he ran out of oxygen. But the bottom line is, you know, we lost an incredible soldier over there, you know, Thai Navy SEAL. Like I told you, all our guys train with those guys year-round. So, I mean, I'm sure I know 2 or 3 people that know him really well because he's been in the Thai Navy for almost 25 years.
Yeah, I mean, when you heard that he had expired because of a lack of oxygen, I would think that for a trained professional diver, a Navy SEAL, which is the best of the best, that would be sort of the most rudimentary checklist, you know, point off your checklist to make sure you have enough oxygen to undertake a mission like this. Although, as you mentioned, age can be a factor when you're breathing in more air than you perhaps did as a younger diver. I don't know.
Yeah, no, but I think what Jake says, and we're totally speculating now, but it does sort of make sense if he had some other medical crisis that occurred. Yeah. You may not be able to keep track of your oxygen intake, but I think it really sort of underscores, Jake, the physical stamina, the physical pressure that these divers are under. It's not just about making sure you have enough air. Your body is really going through it when you're endeavoring to undertake these sort of lengthy dives.
Well, you guys got to understand this now. You know, diving is inherently dangerous, okay? And when I was in the SEAL teams, we had a number of people drowned in open ocean, okay? A couple years back, there was 2 frogmen that drowned in the swimming pool, okay? So when you mix water and people, bad things can happen. And so, but I think it just goes to, you know, the gravity of this situation and how dangerous it is that somebody with that much training and that much skill was not able to make it out of the cave.
Yeah.
Jake Zweig, thank you so much for spending some more time with us. Hopefully we'll be talking to you throughout the course of the day as we learn more of the rescue of these boys and their coach there in Thailand. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Vlad. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
So once again, just to let you guys know, at least one news outlet, Reuters, is reporting that someone was removed from the cave. Some outlets are reporting that a boy was removed from the cave. Here at CBS News, we can't confirm that. Someone was removed. It could have been a rescuer. Jake is talking about how dangerous this is. Could have been a boy. It could have been the coach. So we're going to get more information about this report that we're getting in and bring it to you as soon as we can get it confirmed.